Oh. The big one. See if we can break this. God, feels livelier than the Max. You bugger. on that wire there, really, do we? Fail. Tough, this. I think the only thing I've changed since I last drove it was I've added a support for the, if you know what these are like, the spur kind of hangs. It's a bit strange, a bit like the other one, a bit like the Max. But at least with this you can buy like a third bearing, like a modification to sort of support the spur, because I was stripping spurs and pinions quite often, a bit like I'm doing in the Max. But at least with this you can sort of solidify it a little bit, so you can put like an aluminium cover over where the spur is housed, because there's like a plastic cover that basically supports the spur. It's the same in the Max. So that's all that's kind of holding the spur down, this kind of plastic cover. And obviously that can flex, so this one's got an aluminium piece there to try and give it a bit more rigidity, obviously to try and stop the gears from going out of mesh and shredding, because they're not cheap, particularly the gears. Everything else is cheap, but the gears aren't particularly cheap. I think it's 30 quid for a hardened steel spur gear, so yeah, it adds up, doesn't it? So I've sort of made the cap better that holds the spur in place, and I've also just bought this. It's only cheap off, I think it was eBay or AliExpress, I can't remember, but it was like a little, basically puts an extra point on the support of the spur, puts another bearing in there, so it's held in 3 places instead of 2, so it's hanging a bit less, so should keep it all aligned a little better. And as I say, I think I've driven it, this will be the second time I've driven it with that little mod done, and it seems all right. Well, Doesn't strip yet. So who knows, but in theory it should help. The problem I'm having with the Max is quite similar really. Spur and pinion coming out of alignment. So I'm trying to do a similar thing. I've bought a little cover to give the spur a little bit more solidity. But they don't make, from what I can see, there's not really a lot of motor mounts for the Max. Because it isn't quite as solid with the mount as this thing. But this is great. Great truck. And it has literally never broken anything. So, other than upgrades that I've wanted to do, it has never broken arm. It's never broken anything. Nothing. ESC broke, but that's electrical, so I don't count that as kind of braking from bashing, if that makes sense. It's not like a mechanical brake, it was just more like an electrical fault with the ESC, which Wheel Spin did under warranty for me. It's Wheel Spin models in the UK, so that was good. But mechanically it's never broke a thing, other than spurs and pinions. So basically an ESC and spurs and pinions, that's my issues with it. But hopefully I've sorted the spur and pinion out by doing that mount. I mean, and these are big hits, aren't they? This is an 8S truck, it weighs a ton, and I'm going pretty much full bore at this. Yeah, that's a lot of force coming down. It rips, look. And I have to give it a bit of throttle, because I was thinking to myself, is it my driving that's stripping these? You probably can hear, but I have to give it some throttle, otherwise it's going to crash. So, you know, if I'm giving it throttle, it's to try and correct it so it lands on four wheels. And obviously on a big truck like this, you need to give it a lot of throttle to correct it. I didn't even bother then. So there is occasions where you are having to not land on throttle, because I come off the throttle as it hits the ground, but you're giving it a lot of throttle just before it lands. There's not really a lot you can do. I mean, as you saw there, I could have tried to backflip it, but that tends to end in disaster. So I just basically let it land on its shell, because to correct it then I would have had to absolutely full throttle and potentially, you know, land it on the gas. So you may as well just let it bounce on the shell, which is disintegrating. So you heard it then. I have to give it a bit of a blip because I know it's going to nosedive. So I'm blipping it, but I'm not on the power when it hits the ground. Then again, give it some blip. But look, what's that? That's jumping 15, 20 foot, is it? Unbelievable truck. You've got a big enough space for one. They are great. They are great. Not sure I bother with Ultimate and all that particularly. Don't think you need all that aluminium. As I say, I've never broken a wheel hub. I've never done anything, as I've said many times. I've never broke anything. Although I suppose I have got Proline hubs on it, which I replaced before the stock one's damaged, and I've got RPM front hubs, which again I replaced before, but they weren't expensive. So as I say, those little bits were my choice. They weren't brakes. Oh, and I've got an upgraded servo again, but the other one hasn't broke. The other one hasn't broke. I just wanted it to steer better. That's me done. Hope you enjoyed it. See you later.